First and foremost, I want to definitely thank you. You know, it's truly an honor.
Oh yeah, thank you. It's an honor to that people want to interview me. It's great, especially
Oh
from
yeah,
that
man.
far.
Man, you done made world history, bro. All right, we're gonna get straight into it. So, peace and blessings, family. Thank everybody for tuning in. This is another episode of Taye Speaks. We got a very, very special guest in the house, a hip hop pioneer, a legend, an icon. He's worked with some of the greatest rappers and producers, most influential people that you can think of. He's made world history. He's in the Hall of Fame. So, without further ado, for the viewers who may not know who you are, let them know what your name is, and definitely let them know where you're from.
This is DJ Yella. You might have heard of me coming straight out of Compton from the world's most dangerous group, NWA. Look at his shirt.
All day, you gotta represent one of the greatest, the greatest. So let them know, what was it like growing up in Compton?
Um, some I guess it wasn't too different. I guess because all ghettos are ghettos. I don't care where you are,
Right,
anywhere in the world. A ghetto's a ghetto. They're the same thing. You used to it. It's not scary for us, but for the outsiders when they come in,
right,
then they'd be like, "Whoa, gunshot!" Gunshots and fights and this and that. That was an everyday thing in the ghetto. It was cool though, but it was actually pretty fun.
right. You know, a lot of people have misconceptions about LA and Cali just because of the things they never seen and they never
Yeah.
actually got a chance to visit and, you know,
Oh yeah.
see people there or whatnot. So my next question is, when did you get into the music? What inspired you? Who were some of your influences and how did you first start out?
Um, I first started out playing the drums. I was in seventh grade, and I just got on the drums and started playing. It was just already in me, so it was no big thing. But then I started DJing towards like the 12th grade, and I graduated. I started DJing. Then I became a DJ in the club, and that was called the Wrecking Crew. It was the DJs, and then me and Dre hooked up. I had been DJing for 2 years at least before Dre even came around. And then we hooked up, and that's where we started DJing first. Then we got into the music.
Okay. Now, may I ask, what was the hip hop scene like in LA and Compton in comparison to what was going on in New York? Was y'all like copying at first, or did y'all just have your own flavor? What was some of the similarities? Was y'all wearing high tops and gold chains, or was it different?
Um, um, maybe. Well, I don't think we really copied in the beginning.
Right.
It was just New York had been out. They started it and all this stuff, and then we started it first with the wrecking world class wrecking crew, but it was more fast music. It wasn't the gangster stuff yet until we
Right.
started
Okay.
NWA. Once we started NWA, it's just we just had our own style. We didn't create it. We lived our style. So when we opened our front door, that's what we rapped about. The streets. That's why so many people can relate to it. How many people's from the ghetto? A whole bunch is from the ghetto. I ain't saying the ghetto's a bad place, but we can relate to what's going on in the street. So, and we had our style, how we wore, Raiders caps and this and black, and that's just our style. New York wore their thing, we wore ours.
Right. And I'm glad you said that because when NWA came out, y'all changed the music, y'all changed how people dress, y'all changed the
Yeah.
cars. Everybody wanted to ride in the six fours
Yeah.
and the palm
Six
trees
row.
and everything.
I mean,
So y'all
it's just,
really,
the thing is, we didn't try to do that. We just
mhm.
did music to make a few bucks. That was all. That's all our goal was. It never was gold records, platinums, and all these groups and movies and Hall of Fame. We had no idea that was coming. And all the football teams, all the basketball team got black uniforms somewhere in a trio of uniforms. Football,
Mhm.
everybody got black now. The LA Kings, they was purple and gold. Now they're black and silver. So we changed a
Right.
lot, but we didn't try to. We didn't know what we was doing.
Okay, okay. Now, at what point did you start NWA and also like Easy, Ren, Dre, Cube, all of y'all? Did y'all live in the same neighborhood or went to school together? How did y'all actually connect?
Um, Dre knew Easy. Easy knew Ren. Cube was around me and Dre in the Wrecking Crew days because he came from another group called CIA that Dre did one. They did one song. So some grew up together and some didn't. Me and Dre didn't even grow up together. So it just once we got towards the end of the World Class Wrecking Crew because we made no money there. So that's why we went from that to the next to the real group. I say, and it just happened. It wasn't planned. It just happened that way.
Right, right. It was organic,
Yeah. Oh
definitely.
yeah. Oh yeah.
What was the time period like from going from the world class wrecking crew to actually going to Easy Does It came out first?
Boys in the Hood. Boys
Okay,
in the Hood
yeah.
was
So what
the
was like?
that was like a night and day. Oil and water, totally two
Hmm,
different things. The Wrecking Crew was this, and NWA was that. Bobbing your head, cruising. It was just a totally different kind of music. You know, and it just started off with Boys in the Hood was the first one. That's what started this whole thing.
okay, okay. Now, what year was that? Was that
It
between
had to
the two
be
periods?
about 87, somewhere around 87, late 86, somewhere around early 87. But
Ah, okay, okay,
that might have been our first record. But our first gold single and gold album came from JJ Fad with Supersonic. That me
okay,
and Dre
okay.
and co-produced by Arabian. We did that first. That became the hit first on Ruthless. Boys in the Hood started off it all off, but we did that. That was the first gold and records and stuff.
Man, that's amazing. Big shout out to JJ Fad, most definitely.